where we're going to talk about the establishment and purpose of the Relief Society. I am so excited to share this video with you and to understand it together and to see how it fits in as the restoration unfolded line upon line and precept upon precept. As I begin this video, something that's interesting is this. For the most part, it seems from in the 1830s, Joseph focused mostly on the men of the church. He was very focused on, it kind of began with, all right, let's organize the church, let's get everybody baptized. But beginning in June 1831, he starts to really focus in on concepts of like high priesthood, of endowment of power. He starts to shift his attention to Zion in Missouri, and let's build Zion up. Where's Zion going to be? He then starts to shift his attention to the School of the Prophets and the building of the temple in Kirtland. And that, and many of the other issues that happened during that entire decade, seem to make it so Joseph doesn't actually focus in a lot on what are the role of the women of the church. He focused a lot on the elders and the School of the Prophets and Zion and the temple. What about the role of the women? And in Nauvoo, in the 1840s, specifically in 1842 with the establishment of the Relief Society, Joseph is really going to start to zero in on the women of the church. As a matter of fact, he will say that the church is not properly organized until the women are organized. Of course, it's not properly organized until half of God's children are organized within the kingdom as well. And I love that idea. It's important for us all to understand. I hope this video helps us all to understand better the nature and purpose of Relief Society and its essential role in the restoration of the gospel of Jesus Christ. Well, how does it start? How does Relief Society start? Well, Joseph had encouraged everybody back to temple to help build the temple. In Nauvoo, they're starting to build the Nauvoo temple. There are two women, one named Sarah Kimball, another named Margaret Cook, who want to organize a sewing society and to help collect and create materials to help with the temple and help the temple workers. So they want to, at that time, when they formed societies, it was common in antebellum America to form a society and to have a constitution and bylaws about how the society works. So they reach out to another great woman of the Restoration. Very wisely, they reach out to Eliza R. Snow, who's a wonderful, beautiful writer and thinker. And Eliza R. Snow says, oh, I'll draft up your bylaws for this sewing society connected to the work of the temple and building the temple. And they present their ideas to Joseph of like, we're going to create this society, and they show them their bylaws and constitution. Joseph Smith compliments them and says, quote, but this is not what you want. Nothing like having that answer from the prophet. He says, quote, tell the sisters their offering is accepted of the Lord, and he has something better for them. I invite them all to meet with me and a few of the brethren next Thursday afternoon, and I will organize the women under the priesthood after the pattern of the priesthood. Joseph not only wants them to organize a society to help, he wants it to be a central part of the church under priesthood organization, meaning a president and counselors, and with priesthood authority, meaning they're vested with authority to act in their calling and in their station to help save the souls of men equal with the elders. And so on March 17th, 1842, and in Nauvoo, they only have a few places where they can hold larger meetings, but he meets with a number of women and a few other men in the upper room of Joseph's red brick store. There's a larger gathering space up there in Nauvoo, Illinois, and they officially organized the Relief Society. One of the first questions is, well, who should be our president? Now, today in the church, we're used to a presiding authority, a stake president or a bishop, giving a calling to organize, or the bishop saying, this is who I want to call to be the next Relief Society president. Well, at this time, they opened it up. It was very democratic. They opened it up and said, who should we have as our president? And they quickly nominate Emma Smith to be the president of the society. And the vote is unanimous. They call her the Presidentess-elect. I like that title, Presidentess-elect. And Emma chooses Sarah Cleveland and Elizabeth Whitney, her good friend, as her counselors. John Taylor, a member of the Quorum of the 12 Apostles, is there, and he sets apart Emma and Sarah Cleveland and Elizabeth Whitney as her counselors. And Joseph reads at this first meeting, reads what we know in our Doctrine and Covenants today as section 25, the revelation to Emma Smith, where the Lord calls Emma an elect lady or a chosen lady. And Joseph says that Emma being chosen to preside at the society fulfills the prophecy or the call from God in section 25. In Joseph's words, he says, she was called an elect lady, elected to preside. A wonderful connection there from, again, in this unfolding restoration, a revelation given clear back in 1830 that takes until 1842 to see its full fruition with the Relief Society starting to come forward. Emma Smith stood up at this first meeting and she remarked, quote, "We are going to do something extraordinary. We expect extraordinary occasions and pressing calls," end of quote. One of the first questions was, what should they call themselves? Now, I've just been calling it the Relief Society because that's what we call it today. And they want to know, what is our name? What do we call themselves? Joseph gives them some procedures, some counseling procedures about a chair and a motion and who can speak. And he tells them to speak openly and to speak candidly. Well, here's some of the minutes from the meeting. Moved by Counselor Cleveland and seconded by Counselor Whitney that this society be called the Nauvoo Female Relief Society. Elder Taylor offered an amendment that it be called the Nauvoo Female Benevolent Society, which would give a more definite and extended idea of the institution, that relief be struck out and benevolent be inserted. Now, I'm going to pause there for a second. It's so interesting that this the first time the women start to be organized, the men stick their foot right in and try to take control. In particular, that it's a member of the Quorum of the 12 Apostles saying, I think you should call it this. I don't know if there was a little bit of pressure. They're still trying to figure out how to operate in a council. But back to the minutes, when Elder Taylor says, I think you should call it the Benevolent Society, the motion was seconded by Counselor Cleveland and unanimously carried on the amendment by Elder Taylor. The president, Emma Smith, presidentess, then suggested that she would like an argument with Elder Taylor on the words relief and benevolence. I love that Emma, it's not quite sitting right with Emma. And she says, I want to talk about this a little bit. And I love this. Next line in the minutes. Motion for adjournment by Elder Richards. It's almost like, I want an argument with Elder Taylor, and Willard Richards is like, I think we should take a break. Joseph Smith objects and basically says, let's carry the dialogue forward. Back to the minutes. President Emma Smith said that the popularity of the word benevolent is one of the great objection. No person can think of the word as associated with public institutions. One of her arguments is there's lots of benevolent societies out there. We don't want to pattern ourselves after the world. We want to do something a little bit different on it. Sarah Cleveland then spoke up, and she actually said, I actually do like and support the word relief a little bit better. Eliza R. Snow spoke up and said the same thing. Back to the minutes, quote, Elder Taylor arose and said, I shall have to concede the point. Your arguments are so potent, I cannot stand before them. Joseph Smith himself also said, quote, I also have to concede the point, because he expressed a little reservations about the word relief himself. Back to the minutes, Counselor Whitney moved that this society be called the Nauvoo Female Relief Society, seconded by Counselor Cleveland. Eliza R. Snow offered an amendment by way of transposition of words. You can see her, Eliza R. Snow is such a wonderful thinker and writer. And she says, let's look at these words. Instead of the Nauvoo Female Relief Society, it shall be called the Female Relief Society of Nauvoo, seconded by President Joseph Smith and carried. The previous question was then put, shall this society be called the Female Relief Society of Nauvoo? Carried unanimously.